Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Chamber of the Wraith. My name is Brian, and tonight we're tackling our next DLC character, Nightwolf, the best DLC character in Mortal Kombat 11. I don't mean that in terms of tier list or anything. I mean that in terms of personal opinion. I genuinely really like Nightwolf, and, well, he's come out to look really good. Spawn, Spawn is bronze, I want to say, and Shiva is silver, but genuinely speaking, Nightwolf is probably my favorite DLC character. And he was the second one to come out! That's the crazy thing! He was the second character to come out, so that means everybody else falls before Nightwolf, which is hilarious to me. That this guy, who came out in freaking August, has had a better sort of, or has had a better reception, at least to me, than anybody else as far as DLC characters go. But that's enough of that. Let's talk normals. First up, before I forget, blah. Low stab, 7 frame down 1. Really nice, does decent damage, is -4 on block, so fairly safe, but you lose your turn if this gets blocked. Soaring Winds! This is a 17 frame mid that launches to high heaven, but you're not going to really use this. If you land this in an online setting, holy mother of God, you are lucky. Land it off of a jump-in at least, if you can. But the trouble with this being a launcher, it's -15 on block. So the opponent blocks this, you're in trouble. Then we have Rising Blades, which is a 10 frame uppercut with pretty good range. And of course, it has its uppercut requirements. Uncertain Ground is an 8 frame down 1 with really good range and excellent low profiling. This is really good like Kung Lao's. It has excellent range. It's -6 on block, sure, but again, you're not going to punish this thing, and you can low profile under several high attacks this way. Then there's Lunar Roundhouse, 12 frame high, use this in the middle of a combo. It's +1 on block, but again, it's a high, so uppercut shenanigans could happen. Churning Earth is Nightwolf's sweep. It doesn't have great range, and it's -9 on flawless block, -4 on normal block, but it's a sweep. It's nothing to write home about. Hobbling Kick has really stumpy range, but is 9 frames. Knocks the opponent back and does okay damage as far as low pokes go. One thing to keep in mind is that outside of his down 3 and anything with his weapon, Nightwolf has fairly stubby buttons, so just keep that in mind. Eagle Rake is an air-to-air that can hit on the ground, but you have New Moon if you want to start combos from the air, because of the fact that it is 70 damage versus Eagle Rake's 50. And then there's Drop Kick, which is just a jump kick, nothing to write home about. It's 7 frames, it knocks down. It's nothing too crazy. Then we have hop attacks, wake up attacks, and throws. So first up we have Howling Blade, which is a 12 frame short hop attack with not the greatest range in the game. It's -18 on block. If ma'am would stop flawless blocking. There we go. And -13 on normal block. Hawk Talon is 13 frames and knocks down. And on block is -17 or -12 depending on the kind of block. So generally speaking, Howling Blade is better, because you are definitely going to run into trouble otherwise. Next we're going to load up the wake up attack, so give me just a minute. Oops, that was supposed to be right stick. Okay, so next up we have Eviction Kick. A short range wake up 3 10 frames, and on block, this attack is minus 11, which on flawless block, this is minus 16. So it's definitely a weak wake-up option, relatively speaking, because it's not all that safe on block. But then you have Moonrise, which is minus 23 on block, and of course is a launcher. However, you don't get too much out of it outside of forward 1, because again, he has fairly stumpy buttons. Now, let's wrap things up in the normal section with his throws. Both of them have crushing blows. And both of them have the same requirement for a crushing blow. However, one thing to keep in mind is that once one crushing blow throw goes off, the second one won't come out. That I believe was a thing in the Joker patch where they fixed that, which is really nice because, you know, Nightwolf is one of those characters who could kill you particularly well with a lot of his throws. So that being knocked down makes some level of sense. Now let's talk combo attacks. There's quite a few to go through, but Nightwolf does not have a shortage of really good combo attacks worth talking about. First up, we have Axe Blast. It comes off of a 7-frame high and is special cancelable all the way through. It's minus 6 on block as well, and there's no gap. It's actually fairly decent. Then there's Blatant Edge. There's a flawless block gap in the middle there, but it knocks the opponent down for a decent Oki. And on normal block, well, on flawless block it's minus 9, is plus 1. If you normally block this thing, as in you mess up the flawless block input, it's plus 1. So he gets plus frames off of this thing. Not by much, but some. Then we have Ancestral Rites. A fairly high damaging string that comes off of an advancing mid, which is still fairly stumpy. You have to advance a little bit. The tricky low in the middle is pretty dangerous. And remember, you can end this with a string partway through. The nice thing is that there's a little shoulder charge at the end, so there's a little bit of range that knocks him down. On block, the attack is minus 3. But there is a flawless block gap there, as you would probably expect from anything that kind of looks like that. Then there's Deadly Dance, which you have to dial in that last bit there. But it is your kind of go-to advancing option to convert in order to convert damage. So do that, and generally you should be A-okay. Then we have Lie in Wait. Oh, before I forget, it's minus 13 if you finish the string, but minus 7 if you stop partway through. As for flawless block gaps, there isn't one, so that's good at least. So you can stop this. Forward 1 is minus 7, just stop. You are punishable still, as long as your opponent is at least relatively quick. Then we have Lie in Wait, which starts off of a mid and knocks down. It's minus 6 on block, so it's completely safe, and at least, well, almost completely safe. Raijin Raiden will have words with that. So you'll lose a little bit of your safety off of the string, but this knocks down, leaving you plus 19, enough to go in for a throw, or anything like that. You can also use it to end combos, because you get a little more plus frames if you knock the opponent down from a fairly high juggle. But you won't see too many Nightwolves use this string, so you won't see it too often, but because of its reasonable damage, you can actually use this to convert into Fatal Blow nicely, as you'll see at the end of the video. Then there's Violent Divide. You have to dial in that last bit, but this string is easily Nightwolf's best overall. While it is minus 14, there's an overhead in the middle that is minus 19. You can end it there for minus 9, or go into its sister, Bull and Bear, which is minus 6. And the nice thing is that this has a mid, and that this starts overhead. It doesn't end in an overhead, but as far as chip damage goes, if you think it could kill somebody with chip, go for this string. You'll potentially kill them real nice, especially if you decide to fit in the arrows, just for that extra sweet chip damage. Then we have Deadly Talon, which, fun fact, up until this point, there's been no crushing blows on his strings, but here is one. The final hit has to be the only hit that connects. And then you get yourself a crushing blow combo, which doesn't actually do that much damage. And that's mostly because Nightwolf's damage output in general is actually fairly light for this character. He's a jack of all trades, but his weakness is that overall he takes a little more contact to kill people than most others. So he has to stick his neck out a little more than most. Also, Deadly Talon, the full string is -2, but there's 2 highs. So while there's no flawless block gap, committing to this full string is a dangerous prospect. Finally, we have Wing Clipper, a double low, which, fun fact, this is a mid. This whole string is not low. It's -7 if you finish the whole thing, and this attack is -3. So if you accidentally commit to the string, finish it. But do not commit if you can afford to. And yes, like I said, this is actually a mid for some reason. Why is this a mid? This was the same thing in MK9, and they specifically said it was because it was like this in MK9. No! Remember, MK9 is broken in so many aspects. By that logic, we should have given Sonya her cartwheel back, because it was an MK9, which you do not want Sonya with MK9 cartwheels in this game. It's a plus on block, unreactable overhead launcher. Good freaking luck, as if Sonya wasn't scary enough on her own. Anyway, let's talk about his universal special attacks, which there aren't that many to go over, but they all serve really good purposes. First up is Spirit Arrow, which is a fairly good projectile. It's fairly quick, it covers the screen fairly quickly, and it does 70 damage. On Amplify, you fire 3 of them for decent damage. The second hit is a mid, but the third hit is a high. So you can catch opponents with this thing, but if they block the second mid, they could just let go a block and try and move in. You can also cancel it, but you don't really get any plus frames for it. This is for faking out opponents and then going for it again, so that you can potentially catch them trying to get past your zoning. And by the way, you should never really spend your cancels like this unless you're confident that that'll mess up your opponent enough to kill them. Then we have the Reflector, which I think I'm in the wrong variation of Sindel for. I don't think oh, I do. I do have it in this variation. So just bear with me here. I didn't think that far enough ahead to demonstrate this, but that's good enough. It works. So, Reflector. All projectiles, all true projectiles that hit Nightwolf get reflected. Nightwolf can hold it and cancel it, or Nightwolf can hold it. He can't cancel it. He can just hold it and let go. It's 16 frames of startup, but you have to be careful. Nightwolf only reflects 1 projectile when he does this. Multi-projectiles, like Cassie Cage's standing handgun shots, or amplified projectiles, will ignore that. So, reflect the 1 projectile and be okay. This was nerfed fairly early on, I believe by the Terminator patch, where this thing used to basically ignore all ranged attacks. Cetrion's Earthquake, Cetrion's Boulder, Raiden's Lightning Strike. All of these used to be ignored because they were ranged attacks. Now it's strictly projectile attacks. So attacks with range but aren't strictly projectiles, like Earthquake for instance, will not be reflected by Nightwolf. Which makes sense, but it was also kind of funny to basically just reflect Earthquakes all day. Finally, we have Rhino Charge, an advancing mid that is not safe on block. That is not safe if it is blocked. There it is. It's -16, so it is punishable, and can be flawless blocked. However, on Amplify, while it does have a flawless block gap and is also -13, if the Amplify hits on its own, you get combos. Because this is a grounded stun, which nobody else really has. Allowing you to get some really nice damage. And you are stunned for a while. If I were to burn this crushing blow and waste it, Nightwolf has almost 40 frames where his tomahawk ends up in the opponent's skull. So you go for this, knock him down again, go for a throw. You can see where the dangers come in with this. Of course, it won't actually come out on Amplify if the shoulder charge hits on its own, but it's just good to know that you have your options. And I feel like I'm actually missing some crushing blows under basic attacks. Let me see. Throws, uppercut. And yeah, so I'm actually not missing any. But let's talk about Variation 1, Matokan Warrior. Matoka Warrior, sorry. First up, we have Rising Tomahawk. It's a 17 frame mid, just like the back 2, but back 2 launches meterlessly. Rising Tomahawk really only does that in the corner, and even then, I'm not entirely sure what you would do for this. Like a down 1 perfectly timed or something, but that's not what you're really here for with Rising Tomahawk. You're here for its Amplify, which does launch. And look, it can launch multiple times. So you can do something like that to get 37% damage for 2 bars if you really wanted to. Or if you want to keep the opponent in the corner, but sacrifice damage. Okay, if I didn't mess it up. Come on. Don't mess this up for me, please. I literally just did this the first time. I hate when this happens. You land it the first time. Look at that. That was 38%, and she's in the corner, which means Sindel has to worry about a throw. But that's not all. Next up is Spirit of Kiba. This is the only beast buff that he gets, and I'm a little bit sad about that, because I genuinely wanted this, wanted a full beast variation, but we will never get one with Nightwolf, because look, Spirit of Kiba is right there. This attack only buffs Nightwolf's damage by 15%. It's the weakest buff in this regard. But even so, you can see that the damage racks up nicely. So, if we do this, and then go for the combo. Why is it not working? Why is it not working? Okay, I missed the 3 hits there, and I still managed to beat it in terms of damage, because I was actually going for standing 4, which I think would be more optimal damage. Because that's 146, and that's 162. So it's okay, so it'll be about the same regardless. We could break 40% if I had actually bothered. But, on Amplify, I have to Amplify here, and that makes that combo impossible, unfortunately. But as you can see, I get the Amplify, I go for this, I go for a combo string. Can I actually... Look at that, 395, because I'm doing 25% more damage because of the Amplify. But what's unique about this, I get armor while I'm activating the buff if I amplify it. So that means this buff is guaranteed. So you gotta watch out while Nightwolf has this, because he's just gonna get his one combo off, his one really long combo. Get his 45% if he's near an interactable or something, and then burn through the combo. It is really nice. It's a fairly effective combo extender, actually, and that's why people like Matoka Warrior. Even with just the one buff. That's gonna miss him. you can see the damage that Nightwolf gets off of this can actually be really insane. If I didn't drop the damn combo and got my muscle memory backwards, sorry. But you can see the idea there for the raw damage that Nightwolf can pull off and the combo ability, because he has this. If he only wants to spend the 1 bar. Should have gone for shoulder charge there. Which for some reason did not connect. I thought the gravity would have been enough by now. There it is. I have to wait a little bit. But look at that. Almost 30% off of a back 1. Which means that I didn't have to amplify Rising Tomahawk twice. Which means I could do Spirit of Kiva, amplify it for the 25% extra. And look, I dropped it. But still 32%! Almost 33. There it is! 36.5%! Not worth it for the 2 bars, but damn it, that is some nice damage. Now let's talk about for Nightwolf anyway. You gotta understand, Nightwolf's damage is a little bit less than most of the other characters. So that's the price he pays for having all of the tools that he has. And speaking of all of the tools, probably his best variation is right here, Ancestral Gift. Now, I don't have the combo ability of most other the other variation, which was Matoka Warrior. So why is this the best one? First off, the 2 new strings give Nightwolf some advantage. This one is a true throw, but it is a high. So if, let's say, Sindel were to duck this thing, I'd have to set it up. So watch this. See, she ducked right under that thing. And if she blocks, but does a neutral duck, I can get the extra damage off. So this becomes effectively unblockable. And if this is a counter or punish attack, at any point during the string, look at that. I get damage over time on the crushing blows, and I personally really like it when crushing blows do that, especially if they allow for really long throw animations like this one. Look at that, almost 37% off of a crushing blow throw that I could have stacked because of how long this crushing blow animation is. And of course, that's not all. If we implement Razor's Edge, which this string in and of itself is Nightwolf's most damaging string on its own, and overall the most damaging string on its own. It has a damn command grab's worth of damage right at the end. That does more damage than most command grabs, period, including Nightwolf's own. Spoiler alert. Sorry. But seriously, if we did this string, Helm Splitter, and then go for a Razor's Edge right after. Look at that damage. Almost 27%. Almost 50%. Technically, it required 2 touches and a crushing blow, but still, the damage is insane. And that's not all. Again, we have to keep in mind one thing, and that is Razor's Edge is not a true throw. I kind of wish it was, but I can see why it isn't. It's -5 though, so it's actually completely safe. Next we have Reflector again, because Reflector gets a new set of toys. Namely, that was backwards. There we go. Namely, the ability to teleport. Because I can teleport, I can completely avoid projectiles. Or, although there's a very tight link where I can do that. And I can actually combo off of this. At least with certain projectiles like Sub-Zeros, or other projectiles that have long animations like Collector. and then I can potentially combo off of them this way. But still, I have my way in. And I can enforce really tough situations if it's matchup dependent. Try blocking that, for instance, and you might get clobbered by the overhead. Or you get clobbered by the screamer, and then it could be a really bad day. Now, finally, we have to talk about Tomahawk Swing. This is his command grab. Nightwolf is plus 16 off of this thing on its own, and it's a stance switch. And it does decent damage. It does the damage of an MKX throw, which is less than an MK11 throw, but is about how much damage throws should be doing. On Amplify, though, Nightwolf is plus 70. He's plus 70. This is the most plus I think any move can ever be without being a combo. And the reason for that? I can amplify it. Give the person hope to be in the corner. Nope. There you go. Now you're in trouble. Now, you might have noticed that that actually worked as a combo string. This is the character that taught me the concept of the tick throw. And if you don't know what a tick throw is, it's basically where you do an input, do a command grab, and then, hold on. Why is it not coming out? I'm going to turn off flawless block because I can't do anything if it's flawless blocked. And I'm going to make it stance hold so that you can see it better. So, there it is. See how that worked? The opponent could have let go of, that is called a tick throw. And it works best here because I can do it most easily with Nightwolf. But this basically allows Nightwolf to go for his command grab if the opponent is blocking and get a free command grab out of it. All command grab type characters relish their tick grabs. Ripper Kano is a perfect example. He relishes the opportunity to go for a command grab, but Nightwolf does that better. And it's kind of funny because I remember an old video from the Condiment Brothers, as I call them, P&D Ketchup and Mustard, talking about how Ancestral Gift is basically a better Ripper Kano. And for all intents and purposes, it kind of is. Because the command grab, because all of the things you can get command grab off of, standing one, down one, this string, which is normally unsafe as all hell, you do this, you go for this, get a command grab, Jesus Christ. And you can even enforce pressure in other ways. -3, so the opponent can't has to respect this button. And then potentially eat a forward 1, which does not tick grab as well, or a down 1 which tick grabs, a standing 1 that tick grabs, you get the idea. However, if I am Sindel, and I know that this person likes to do his command grabs, which, remember, do not connect if I'm not blocking. I can do this. See? I can basically say no, and then get my combo going. And that was with easy crushing blows only on player 1. So I can do, but if I hold block and I don't anticipate that, I eat 120. But if he messes up, he's eating at least 30%. And like I said, I'm being super generous here I'm being super easy on this. You can obviously get more damage off of a down 2. But because it's a true throw, Nightwolf's command grab is a high, which means you will not be able to really catch the opponent off of this. If they are crouching. Unless they are crouch blocking. That is the only time that it will work. If the opponent is crouch blocking like this, I can catch him with this. But then I could also catch him with an overhead, where I could go knock him down, get my Oki, go for a command grab, go for a normal throw, whatever. But here's the kicker. This has a crushing blow. Now, the crushing blow requirement is a bit Byzantine. It's a bit Byzantine, it's nothing too crazy. It has to be a reversal punish, meaning that as a Sindel player, if I were a Sindel player for a second, and I were to do... I need to find something that is minus. Forward 2 is minus 20. Perfect. So, if I were... I shouldn't be recording this. So if Sindel goes for this, and I block it, and I go for command grab, and it's a reversal punish, crushing blow. 170 damage, which also does damage over time. So, this is one of those situations where get the reversal punish. I can dash in to enforce some pressure because it's also plus 41. And then if the opponent thinks to thinks to try and block and they eat this crushing blow instead, or I could do this, get that same DOT damage again, go for a throw if I didn't whiff that. Look at that damage. They're basically almost dead because of throws. That is the power of those DOT crushing blows. And yeah, that is scary. But here's the other requirement. Here's the other damn requirement. You already know where this is going. This has to break armor. This is an armor breaking attack. This stubby little command grab is armor breaking. That is insanity. That you have to try and break armor with that attack. Because look at the range. It takes 3 of these from the start of the match in order to get in. The only time I can think of where you might be able to catch them off of this is off of a back 2. So that means you have to go for a yellow back 2, not mess up the input like I am, get your crushing blow, enforce that command grab pressure. It's a little bit nuts, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad that this is the armor break because it allows for that crushing blow, which is one of Nightwolf's best in that variation, to actually be seen. Because you try entering a Netherrealm command grab input on a reversal punish. It's hard, man. But I can understand why people wanted it to be shoulder charge, which is not in this variation. But if it was shoulder charge and then it allowed that crushing blow for free as well, that'd be pretty cool. But now we're in Shaman, which is an underrated variation, I think, because people don't give this thing the time of day. Lightning Arrow is one of the best projectiles in the game. No cap. It's a fast mid-projectile. Yes, you can't amplify it, but you can hold and cancel it. You can hold and cancel and delay and fire the opponent. And this trades favorably with almost every projectile in the game. Watch this. So I'm just going to tell Sindel to just fire low star screamers, okay? I'm blocking, I'm getting frustrated. And I can reflect these too. If I can... So I can compound my zoning with one of the best projectiles in the game. Let's see. Okay. The only exception is that with low star screamer, of course, because she gets so low to the ground, even this mid projectile will duck. But that's 1 in a million, basically. There aren't very many super low projectiles like this. So Nightwolf gets the time of day to basically just hammer home one of the best projectiles in the game. It's really good for keep away, especially when compounded with the reflect to stop opponents from zoning you with their own projectiles. Then we have Spirit Tracks, which is an advancing low that has really good range. This is also good for counter zoning because from back here, I'm standing in front of the Netherrealm flag. Roll, knock him down with this thing. It knocks down, it sends him back, and I'm plus 25, so I can go in for overhead pressure. And I can kind of go for a mix here. Nightwolf doesn't have any native overheads otherwise, however, so it wouldn't be a true mix. If he could like somehow cancel that into this, that would be pretty cool. But on Amplify, I get a launcher. Now this used to suck as a launcher because there was only one way to combo into this thing, which was this. However, now I can combo into anything. Get a double low, and maybe end it with lightning arrow. So this. And by muscle habit, I try for Rhino Charge, but you don't have Rhino Charge in this variation. So, this. Ram Lightning Arrow in their face, 25%, let's go. Again, it's very Nightwolf because Nightwolf doesn't get an extreme amount of damage. But, he does get enough damage wherein he straight up has the launcher to get some good damage. And of course he has this. He still has the meterless, which can go into knockdown, which can then become a throw, which can close out the game. Nightwolf is for those players that like to have a little bit of everything. Nightwolf has that little bit of everything that no other character really has. So, for instance, Sindel has really good damage. And very far-reaching buttons, but she is slow. Nightwolf is faster in that regard and trades a little bit of range in that process, but he's no slouch in the range department either, especially with one of the better projectiles in the game, even without lightning attached to it. Or you might think of a rushdown, of another rushdown character like Jackie. Her rushdown is obscene, but if you can zone her out, she's in trouble. You can't zone out Nightwolf. He can reflect your standard projectiles, and he trades favorably most of the time with his projectiles. His only real weakness is that he's slightly stubby, and that is fixed by some of his weapon strings, and some of his better special moves, and his projectiles. And he doesn't really get the same amount of damage that other characters get off of, say, their Crushing Blow uppercut. See, even if I were to do this and then go for that, I can maybe get 35% at a push. And we're talking without interactables or another uppercut or something. We're just going for a standard strength. Come on, it's 4-1. Come on now. Don't be shy. Yeah, see, I even kind of whiff it at the end there. But I get maybe 35%. 380, so I get almost 40% off of that. Sindel, in certain variations, can get 45 or even 50%, as an example. There are characters that can get obscene amount of damage off of their down twos. Nightwolf's is serviceable. Fairly modest in comparison. But let's talk about his Fatal Blow, which is Spirit Hunter. This is 17 frames. It covers the entire front of him. You can't jump in when Nightwolf has this active because you're just going to eat 32% damage. And as a result, that concludes the Nightwolf video. Don't forget to be awesome, my friends. I'll see you guys on the other side. And while this might take some doing, I might be able to get a pretty sweet combo for you.